Einstein did not invent the theory of relativity while he was multitasking at the Swiss patent office. No matter which smartphone you buy, the chip was designed on an American software, produced in Taiwan, on a machine which can be only built in Netherlands. And then the camera lenses, if you are using some high-end phone, the lenses come from Germany, from Zeiss. They're assembled in China and then marketed by another British or American company. And I told him that I don't want to do 1,000 push-ups in a day. I want to do 20 push-ups until my deathbed. People in general who do less unforced errors are the ones who win the game, in life as well. Welcome to your home of ideas. I am Mayank. I'm a PhD researcher working on nano devices. And this is episode 3 of Monthly Dose of Insights, where I share the lessons or interesting ideas that I learned in the previous month with all of you guys. It's more or less an informal conversation with you guys. So let's start with idea number 1. Idea number 1 comes from this book and The Distracted Mind. Let's start. Let me read you something. Einstein did not invent the theory of relativity while he was multitasking at the Swiss patent office. It came after, when he really had time to think and focus. Well, this was a Stoic philosophy idea, but the truth is, this book also talks about the same thing. This book talks about the neuroscience of distraction, how your brain works and how your brain focuses on things. I will soon bring a video on this book as well, a summary of this book. But for the time being, let's understand this. There's nothing called multitasking. You have to understand this. Our brain does task switching. There's a difference. When you say multitasking, it implies that you are able to maintain a similar level of performance in two different cognitive tasks. But that's not the case. When you're doing one task which requires your cognitive load, which gives you some sort of cognitive load, basically which requires your attention, and then I ask you to do another task, you think that you're doing multitasking, but your brain switches the attention from there to there. There are a lot of experiments. One of the example would be the professor who wrote this book. I mean, the two of them. I think he did an experiment in his lab where he invited people where they were asked to play a video game in which you have to drive a car. The car goes through the road, ups and downs and everything. And then to the same group of people, what he asked them to identify signs on the road. And these signs were, let's say, in different colors, red, green, blue, whatever, and different shapes. So let's say he asked you to figure out green circles and you have to press a separate button. There's just one button which you have to press every time you see the green circle, and every time you see something else you don't need to press it. And in every single case, in every single age group, their driving performance diminished from their previous baseline. Of course, a person A can be a better driver than the person B, but a person A will be a worse driver when given an extra task. A person B will also be a worse driver compared to what he or she was before given this task. So from their baseline, it reduces. Moral of the story is that there is nothing called multitasking. We feel that in this modern world, we feel like you have to do more. All of the time, when you have some time to relax, you feel like, no, I should be doing more. While eating, I should be watching some shorts, no? Or while texting to a friend, there should be another video playing on my YouTube, right? You always want to do more, less. I think Mahatma Gandhi said it once, that there's more to life than making it fast. There you have it. That's the idea number 1 that I learned in the past month. I read this book long ago, and of course, this Stoic lesson is from 12th of April, I think. And I just decided to combine both of them. Then the second idea that I would like to share, it's related to YouTube actually. It's related to our smartphone and our computers. I recently finished reading the book Chip War. I don't have it here because I returned it to the library. They were sending me mails after mails, and the book was with me. I don't know, maybe for 6 months. I did not even realize I was reading other books here and there, and I forgot about this book completely, and then I started reading it last month and I finished it. Okay, long story short, your smartphone is so interesting. It's so interdependent. Your smartphone, or I mean, our smartphone, is a perfect example of the fact that the world is so interconnected. No matter which brand smartphone you use, Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi, or Huawei, or whatever you use, especially the international brands, not the Chinese brands, but the international ones, because there is a different story. I'll tell you that as well. But let's say the international brands, let's say Apple or Samsung. All of those phones, their processor either comes from Snapdragon, or Apple designs its own bionic chips, or Samsung also has their own processor called Exynos. All of those processors are designed on American software or British softwares, right? ARM, the ARM architecture, that company is based in Britain, and all the other software companies are based. I'm talking about the software companies, the software required to design the actual processor of your smartphone, the architecture, where will be the transistor 1, where will be the transistor 2. And just a reference, your your smartphone processor is roughly the size of your fingernail. So almost this size, because it's roughly 10 by 10 millimeters. And in this much area, it contains about, can you guess? Billions of transistors. Billions, not 1 billion. It varies between 2 to 3 billion. Some of them have even more, I think, now. So imagine 3-4 billion transistors in this much area. It's insane. Anyways, so it's all the processors are designed on this software. There are just 3 or 4 of those out there. All of these cutting edge processors, especially the Snapdragons, the latest edition ones, they're all fabricated at TSMC. 90% of those are fabricated in TSMC, which is based in Taiwan. And some of the Exynos are also very comparable in their performance, and also in their not production, the lithography, the smallest size that are written on those processors are comparable to TSMC ones, or the Snapdragon ones, or the Apple bionic chips. They're produced in Samsung's facility in South Korea. Anyways, long story short, all the processors are designed on softwares, either comes from US or Britain. They're manufactured in Taiwan. Okay. Most of them. It doesn't matter if you buy a Samsung phone with a Snapdragon processor or an Apple phone with an bionic chip, they all are produced in the same facility. It's for us anyways, that we think they're different. No, they're not. And they're all assembled in China. Most of them, I think 80 to 85% of smartphones are assembled in China. Maybe 5% or less are assembled in India, some in Vietnam and here and there, but primarily in China. All of the sensors for the camera, they come from Japan. The RAM in our phones mostly comes from Japan or South Korea. So you see everything coming together so nicely, interwoven into one each other, and there is your smartphone. So the world is so dependent. One more thing, all of these processors are produced using lithography, and all the lithography is done using ASML's lithography machines. And ASML is a Dutch company. It's a subsidiary of Philips. So no matter which smartphone you buy, the chip was designed on an American software, produced in Taiwan, on a machine which can be only built in Netherlands. And then the camera lenses, if you are using some high-end phone, the lenses come from Germany, from Zeiss. They're assembled in China and then marketed by another British or American company, and then shipped to you in India or in Spain or in anywhere you are. Anyways, the important point when I read this book is that we are so interdependent in terms of technology. And another example I would give you, another thing that I forgot, Huawei. Let's take an example of Huawei. Huawei is a very different story altogether. They have worked so hard and figured out a way, not a way, I mean, the way was existing, but they did it everything in-house. Huawei has developed their own lithography processes. They're producing their processors in-house. Basically, I would say Huawei phones are more or less end-to-end in-house produced. It's like those high-end luxury watches in-house production. It's something like that, which came out of necessity, I would say, because US has put on sanctions using its ties with Europe that the most cutting edge machines from ASML should not be shipped to China. So they always have 1 or 2 generations behind. So they are developing their own. Anyways, so you see, the world is so interdependent. And then I watched another video from Neil deGrasse Tyson. He had a visit to Antarctica. And it's so strange that Antarctica is so isolated. The ecosystem survives and thrives alone. There is no interdependence there. That's what tells us something interesting. Penguins are not sending rockets to Mars. Humans are. This interdependence is what is the difference. Another fun thing, the word Antarctic comes from Arctux. I wrote it here. I forgot the word. It's called, yes, Arctos. The word Arctos is a Greek word which means bear, and anti-Arctos or anti-Antarctic means no bear, opposite of bear. Now you know where there are no bears. Very interesting. Good. So humans are interdependent. Our smartphone is the one of the biggest example. Our life changed because of this. And then there's Antarctic, completely independent. Okay. Um, Another lesson that I learned last month, it's something I know from a long time, but it appeared to my head in this form recently, is that, okay, I love playing badminton. I used to play a lot in my school. Towards my high school, I started playing, I think, in 7th grade or 6th grade, I don't remember, but towards my high school I used to play a lot. I played a lot during my first and second year of my bachelor's, but then I stopped playing completely. Now recently I've started playing again. Anyways, long story short, in badminton there are two types of error. There are unforced errors and then there are forced errors. Unforced are the ones where the shuttle is in your control, it's in your court, and you are the one who are playing it, and you do a mistake. You hit it outside the court, or you do a mistake, basically, you hit the net or you hit outside the court. Forced error are the ones where your opponent has put pressure on you and made sure that you do a mistake. You're forced to make a mistake. It's a very important lesson for life as well. And more often than not, I've noticed when you're playing, let's say, rank number 1 to rank number 10, those athletes, all of them are very similar to each other. There is not much difference. The key difference comes to the point that the person who does less number of unforced errors on a given day wins the game. It's that simple. And it's something that also applies to us in our life, in general success stories. People in general who do less unforced errors are the ones who win the game in life as well. For example, I mean, an unforced error in your life will be you're not showing up on time in the meetings. You're not respecting the deadlines. You're not respecting your colleagues. You're picking up unnecessary fights. All these are unforced errors. The person who does less of these wins the game. It's that simple. This is something I've learned. And every time I'm doing something, I'm asking myself always that, is it an forced error or an unforced error? If it's an unforced error, try to reduce it. You will go a long way. I'm telling you. I won't reveal the names, but recently I come across a story where this is a master student, and okay, the gender is revealed now, but anyways, he is not showing up on time into the meetings and not respecting the deadlines. Do you think this student will go too far ahead in his career if he does not change this behavior? These are unforced error. They put a really bad impression of you on different people. And these small things accumulate. We humans are, anyway, we don't do really well with biases. And once the bias is set, it's very hard to undo it. So do less number of unforced error, and I think you will achieve a lot of success. And of course, then you up your game so that you are forced less and less to make errors, even when the opponent is good. Okay, then another thing I would like to share is It's a health tip. So now in every episode, I'm trying to share one health idea or one health lesson or tip. You can call it anything, but it's an idea. Everything is an idea for me. I just share ideas, and it's up to you how you use that idea, how you mold that idea, how you apply that idea in your life. This is something that I said to a friend of mine, I think in 2012, maybe, or maybe 13. I don't remember exactly, but it's in that time. I told him that's when I started exercising more, since with more sincerity, that health is very important, and started taking care of it. And I told him that I don't want to do 1,000 push-ups in a day. I want to do 20 push-ups until my deathbed. And this has been my philosophy about health. It's like you can't train for 10 days in future. It's not a reservoir. It's not a fuel tank in your car that you fill more so that you can go further. No. Every day you need to do this effort. Every day. But it has to be a small amount, but has to be consistent. And consistency doesn't mean every day, I agree. Even if you train, normally what I'm doing is mostly it's like 3 days I dedicate towards strength training, which is my push, pull, and squat routines. And then there are 4 days left. So those 4 days are divided into, sometimes I do some cardio, I will do some mobility drills, I'll go maybe outside for a walk, some relaxed stuff, not very heavy, but doing the small things. And of course, with age, if you want to maintain the same performance, so those 4 days for me are now dedicated towards small muscle groups, primary simple things which you don't care, like mobility of your shoulders, mobility of your hips, mobility of your ankles, things like that, or knees, to maintain the same performance for a long period of time. And of course, flexibility and things like that. The idea is do less, but do it more often. Today, promise yourself that you will do 10 push ups, no more, no less, until you get so comfortable with 10 push ups that it becomes like brushing your teeth in the night, right? If some of you are not brushing your teeth in the night, believe me, it's a game changer. I think I started brushing my teeth twice a day, maybe 7, 8 years ago. Before that, I used to brush once a day, just like everyone else, most of just in the morning. And I realized it's not a good idea. Dentists are right. They say the right thing. You have to brush your teeth twice a day. Anyways, so you have to do these 10 push-ups for so long that at some point they become like an autopilot, like brushing your teeth in the night. At some point when it becomes your habit, you just can't sleep without brushing your teeth. You just do it without even thinking. Okay, let's see how long it has been. Okay, so we're touching close to 20 minutes. I want to keep it less than 20 minutes. Last episode was very long and nobody watched it. I want to keep it short. Okay, for those who are still hanging around, I will read a poem for you. Okay. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I cannot travel both. And be one traveler long I stood, and looked down as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I keep the first for another day, yet knowing how ways lead to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Okay, have a good one, guys. See you on the next one. All the best. Have a good time. Bye bye.